Welcome back to Whispers in the Shadows HQ, where every story hides a darker truth. Tonight, we journey to the frozen heart of Alaska, a land of breathtaking beauty and unforgiving wilderness. It's a place where the line between civilization and the wild is thin, and where a quiet man lived a double life that stunned investigators and shattered the peace of an entire state. In the 1970s, Anchorage, Alaska was a city brimming with hope and opportunity. It was a frontier town, growing rapidly, drawing people from all over the world who were seeking a new start. Amidst the snow-covered streets and the cozy glow of local businesses, Robert Hansen seemed like the embodiment of the American dream. He was a hard-working baker, a loving family man, and a respected member of his community. His bakery was a warm, inviting place, a staple for locals who would stop by for fresh bread and a friendly chat. People knew him as Bob, the quiet, unassuming man with a slight stutter. He was a skilled hunter, a passionate pilot, and someone you'd never look at twice. But beneath the calm surface, behind the polite smile, he carried secrets as vast and as cold as the Alaskan tundra itself. Secrets that would eventually unravel to change Alaska's history forever. For years, a shadow lingered over Anchorage and its surrounding areas. People, mostly young women, started to go missing. In a transient city like Anchorage, where workers came and went with the seasons, disappearances weren't entirely uncommon. Cases would be opened, initial searches conducted, but leads would quickly grow cold. The files would be shelved, fading into a grim statistic. The vastness of the Alaskan wilderness made searching an almost impossible task. A person could vanish without a trace, swallowed by the forests and mountains, and no one would be the wiser. Law enforcement was stretched thin, and the cases were often treated as isolated incidents, runaways, or individuals who had simply decided to move on. No one suspected that these disparate, heartbreaking stories of loss could be connected, or that a single, sinister predator could be methodically at work in their midst. The pattern was invisible, hidden in plain sight, a silent and terrifying trail of vanishing lives. Robert Hansen's passion was flying. He owned a small Piper Super Cub, and it was his escape. He would take off from the local airstrip, soaring over the rugged Chugach Mountains and the winding Kunnik River. To his friends and family, he was just an avid outdoorsman, a hunter who knew the untamed Alaskan landscape like the back of his hand. He charted its remote corners, its hidden lakes, and its dense forests. This intimate knowledge of the wilderness wasn't just a hobby, it was a tool. His plane gave him access to a world far removed from prying eyes, a world of absolute isolation where he was the only one in control. He used that isolation to his advantage, turning the breathtaking beauty of the Alaskan backcountry into his own private, chilling domain, a place to hide what he never wanted others to find. The endless miles of uninhabited land became the perfect cover for the darkest chapter of his life. The pattern of disappearances might have continued indefinitely, if not for one act of incredible courage. On the night of June 13, 1983, a terrified young woman was seen running frantically along a highway. Her name was Cindy Paulson. She managed to flag down a passing truck driver, telling a story so horrifying it was almost unbelievable. She claimed she had been abducted, held captive, and was only able to escape by a sheer stroke of luck. She gave the police a name, Robert Hansen, the local baker. Her account was detailed and chilling. Initially, some were skeptical. Hansen was a respected business owner with no significant criminal record, but Cindy's testimony was unwavering. Her bravery broke open a case that had haunted the Anchorage area for over a decade, providing investigators with the first tangible link, the first thread to pull in a terrifyingly complex web. Her survival was the key that would unlock a series of cold cases and expose the monster hiding in their community. Cindy Paulson's testimony was the catalyst the investigation desperately needed. Alaska state troopers, alongside the FBI, began to look at Robert Hansen not as a baker, but as a potential serial predator. They brought in John Douglas, a pioneering criminal profiler from the FBI's Behavioral Science Unit. Douglas analyzed the case files, the geography of the disappearances, and the victimology. He built a psychological profile of the unknown subject, an experienced hunter, someone with low self-esteem despite an outward appearance of normalcy, and someone who would keep souvenirs of his crimes. The profile was a chillingly accurate description of Robert Hansen. Armed with this new perspective and a search warrant, investigators entered Hansen's home. What they found was horrifying. Hidden away was a collection of jewelry belonging to the missing women, firearms of the same caliber used in several unsolved cases, and, most damning of all, an aviation map. On that map, marked with small X's, were locations scattered across the remote Alaskan wilderness, a gruesome treasure map of his secret life. Faced with the overwhelming evidence found in his home, the polite, quiet baker's facade crumbled. In a series of intense interrogations, Robert Hansen began to confess. The story he told was more horrific than investigators could have imagined. He admitted to numerous kidnappings and murders spanning more than a decade. He detailed how he would fly his victims to remote locations in the wilderness and then hunt them, in a plea bargain to avoid the death penalty and help authorities locate the bodies of his victims. Hansen agreed to cooperate. He led investigators on a grim aerial tour, pointing out the locations he had marked on his map. He was sentenced to 461 years plus life in prison, ensuring he would spend the rest of his days behind bars. Hansen's confession brought a horrifying clarity to years of unsolved disappearances, but even today it is believed that the frozen tundra of Alaska still holds secrets known only to him, the final resting places of victims never found. The case of Robert Hansen serves as a chilling reminder that evil can wear the most ordinary of faces. He was the man no one suspected, the friendly neighbor who smiled politely from across the bakery counter. His story is not just one of a predator, but of the silent victims, the tireless investigators, and the one brave survivor whose courage brought a monster out of the shadows. It teaches us that evil doesn't always roar. Sometimes it whispers, hiding in plain sight until it's too late. The vast, beautiful wilderness of Alaska, once seen as a symbol of freedom and adventure, was, for a time, a landscape of fear. But justice, though slow, eventually found its way through the cold. This has been Whispers in the Shadows HQ. Thank you for joining us on this journey into one of Alaska's darkest chapters. If you find these real-life mysteries as compelling as we do, be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell for more of the chilling truths that hide just beneath the surface. Stay safe, and we'll see you in the shadows.